Well, hello, old house fans. Today's Monday, the 25th of August, 2025, and I'm on my front porch where I'm continuing to bring it back to its former glory. You may recall from a previous video that I had scraped and sanded all of the clapboard siding on the porch, and including the window trim. I've remade the eyebrows for the windows to their proper length, where they overhang the flat window trim, exterior trim, and then a molding goes underneath that eyebrow to give it a little decorative finish. They had been hacked off, the original ones had been hacked off when the house was shingled 70 or 80 years ago. An unfortunate incident which required me to remake all of them to their original dimension. What I'm doing on the porch is there's a beadboard ceiling. Each board is about 2 and a fraction inches wide. That's tongue and groove. It's about 3/8 of an inch thick, and I am not going to scrape these boards because it would be a back-breaking effort since they're overhead. Could I remove the boards? Yes. A lot of them would probably get damaged. It's very old wood, it's very soft wood, and I'm not going to go to that effort. I am going to apply 4x8 sheets cut to the correct size of beadboard and duplicate the look, if not in fact the material. But that's going to be a whole lot less work and a whole lot less expense. But here at the end of the porch, because the gutters had failed over the course of many years, and there was a lot of damage here. A bird's nest got inside a couple of times, so I am doing a little bit of repair. So you see that I have continued the process of removing the lead paint and scraping everything down to wood, because when I paint, I want the paint to have the best chance of long-term survival, and there's nothing like applying it to bare wood. So I've scraped up here at the top because I want to get going on the beadboard, but I've had to remove some of the beadboards because they were missing or they were warped, and on top of them was a bird's nest, so all that had to be cleaned out. Because of the water damage in this neck of the woods, there was some rot, so I've got to replace some of the boards. What I didn't know was on this beam that supports the porch roof at its outer edge, and this goes all the way around, there's a beam. It's a 4x6, and I actually thought the underside of this was the beam, but in fact it isn't. You can see perhaps somewhat up there the beam, and then below it is a 2x4 attached to the beam that gives the whole structure a little more height. And the fascia here on the inside gives the whole structure a little more width. So architecturally, they thought that just a 4x6 would have looked too skinny. So they padded the whole thing out, and that's what I've discovered recently by removing a rotten section of the inner fascia here, exposing the beam, exposing the 2x4 under the beam, and what I have to do is remove this section of the fascia. There's a split right about there, and the reason I need to do that is because I want to see what the spacing on these little 2x4 sections is, because when I go to put in new columns here for the porch, I want the column to be right below a 2x4. So the column is between the board underneath, the 2x4, and then the beam. So there's full contact of wood from the top of the column to the beam. I don't want to put the column at a section where I'm between those little sections of 2x4 and perhaps put undue pressure on that piece of wood on the bottom of this assembly. So the things you find out when you start to do some digging, but that's all part of restoring an old house. the other part of restoring this particular porch is, of course, this entire wall will get scraped. So here you see side by side the clapboards that have been scraped and sanded to bare wood, and the sections that have not been. I'll get to this section when I get to the outside of this porch beam assembly. But the paint shaver does a pretty good job of removing the paint. Of course, it doesn't get to the corners, so I have to do that by hand. And as I say, it's a whole lot faster than scraping the entire thing by hand. Plus, I can attach it to a HEPA vacuum, put on my respirator, and not have to worry about the lead paint. So you may recall that the deck on the porch had been made of concrete, and the other day I rented a concrete saw, a walk behind, and have cut the concrete all around the concrete deck into manageable squares. And when I say manageable, these things might weigh 100 or so pounds, but I have the assistance of my nephew to get rid of them. And these will be tossed into the pickup truck and taken to a concrete recycling location not too far away. But I'm going to leave this here until I get the beadboard on the ceiling, and then once the beadboard is up, the concrete gets the heave-ho. All of the sand that's underneath the concrete, as you can see here, which helps to support the concrete, that's all going to go to my neighbor's, who has a large hole in her driveway that she would like to have filled. And then I get to start on the reframing of the support for the decking. The decking will be AZEK porch, which looks just like old-timey porch boards, but it's a lifetime product requiring no maintenance. It gets installed with stainless steel screws that are installed through the tongue, and the AZEK product is tongue and groove like the old porch boards, but again, neither rain nor snow nor gloom of night will affect its ability to hold up to time. So that's what's going on with the porch, and the top course of bricks will come off. You can see them still attached to this chunk of concrete here, and likewise over on this end of the porch I will need to do a little repair on some of the beadboard. Do the same thing with the scraping and the sanding, so that I can get at least those top few clapboards primed along with the beadboard, and get the beadboard installed and then ultimately painted. So again, the side of the house you can see at the top there are no holes because the top few clapboards have been filled in. And again, this is just one coat of primer on this wall. Again, I've replaced the eyebrows. You see that the trim is scraped and primed, and I have to add a couple of clapboards here at the bottom, and I'll get to that when after the beadboard has been installed. So that'll get the ceiling out of the way, and then the concrete can get out of the way, the sand can get out of the way, and then I can get the bottom clapboards in place when I figure out exactly where the porch is going to go height-wise relative to the brickwork that's out here in the front. Again, I'm thinking that the top course of brick out here at the outer perimeter will need to go away, and if it goes away, I may also remove the top course of bricks here on the stoop. And what I will probably do is, I'm thinking that I will maybe replace that with a large piece of either gray or blue stone. But as I say, when the concrete goes, that top course of brick goes, the steel columns go, there'll be temporary supports, and of course all of this will be scraped, painted, and the porch will look very much like it did in 1903. That's the whole idea. This is a somewhat expensive project on its own. I have a building permit just for the porch, and I hope to get that done before my 70th birthday, which is October the 2nd. So 6 weeks or less away. Anyway, that's it from the front porch. Hope you are enjoying the saga, and it shall continue. So until next time, that's it from my old house in Preston, Maryland.